Championship week is here. Hopefully you all are still alive, playing for that trophy. Crazy week 15, plenty to talk about. DraftKings, if you're looking for some action still on Sunday, get into the daily, use promo code FST, follow the link in the card or in the description. Sign up, deposit $5 more, they'll give you an entry to a free game, and you can still have some action if you're out of your season long. But let's talk about fantasy championships. Who should you pick up? Who should you consider starting? We'll start at running back. We'll start with the Bills situation. McCoy's done. So you got Carlos Williams and Mike Gillislee. I know it was a pretty even split after the McCoy injury, but you gotta think Carlos Williams is the guy to own at this point. I think he's the must-add in all leagues. Gillislee in deeper leagues if you're desperate. We'll see what the reports say this week in terms of who's going to get the majority of carries. I do think they will technically call it a timeshare, but I think Williams is going to be the guy to own. He's going to be the guy that more than likely gets the goal line. So he's still available in a decent amount of leagues. So if you can get him, he's going to be a guy that deserves consideration for starting championship week. Next is Bilal Powell. I mean, I've been talking about him for a couple weeks. He's still out there in a lot of leagues, only on about 30% of leagues right now. And you look at the matchup against New England. Oh, they're tough against running backs. But I don't really think they use Powell as a running back. I mean, they use him more as a receiver. And you got to think they're probably going to be playing from behind in this one. So it's scary. I know Bilal Powell's a little bit scary, but look at what he's done over the last handful of games. I think he's worthy of a flex option in PPR leagues. I mean, standard leagues, you're going to have a really hard time fitting Powell in your lineup. PPR leagues, though, I think he is worthy of consideration. Let's talk about some more running backs. Christine Michael for Seattle. I'm going to deem this guy as the most added and dropped player for 2015. I mean, pick him up, drop him. Pick him up, drop him. But at this point, he's back to being relevant again. I'm only calling him a must-add in deeper leagues because it's going to be so hard to trust what they're going to do going into the game. I mean, obviously they chose him for week 15, but will he be the guy for week 16? Probably, but I don't know if I would take that gamble unless I had to. But deeper leagues, if you're not liking your flex option, I think he has a little bit of value. Jerick McKinnon for Minnesota. I do want to talk about him. They're already saying that Peterson's probably going to play week 16, but I think it's a little early to say that. A lot of times you can, sprain your ankle. It doesn't really bother you too much on game day, but then a couple days later, it starts swelling up and starts to hurt more. So if you're in the finals and you own Peterson, McKinnon, absolute must-add. You got to get him on your team. And if you have a bench spot that you're not really using right now, maybe pick up McKinnon and just see what happens. But he could be a decent play if Peterson ends up missing. Let's talk about the Patriots situation. So we got Joey Iosefa, and they just signed Steven Jackson. Iosefa's the guy that I would pick up if I was going to pick up someone. I've seen a lot of people are picking up Steven Jackson. I just don't see him doing much this quickly. I mean, maybe they'll get him ready for the playoffs, but that situation is just proving to be an absolute mess. But I want to talk about it because whoever does get the carries could have some value this week. So just keep an eye on that situation as it goes out through the week, but it's going to be a scary play, only worth consideration in really deep leagues. Let's talk about receivers. Ted Ginn Jr., only owned in about 60% of leagues. I mean, you got to respect what this guy has done. And here's the deal with the Panthers. They're still playing for something. I mean, not only are they, still trying to do their undefeated record, but they, need to win or Cardinals lost to lock up home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So they're going to want to win week 15 or week 16. So they're going to have their starters out there. And Ted Ginn Jr. has the potential of having another really big game. I mean, the fantasy world is disrespecting what he's done. And the people that have picked this guy up and have ridden him through this hot streak are loving some Ted Ginn Jr. right now. People that had in deeper leagues, GreenBeckham for Tennessee. Now, I did want to talk about him because he's the perfect guy to add if you're in any type of keeper league. You're going to want to take a look at him. For any type of keeper league in general, you just need to really look at your bench and just make sure you're optimizing, your bench for potential keepers for next year. GreenBeckham is a guy that definitely fits that mold. I don't necessarily like him week 16, but deeper leagues he could be an option. Oh, the next one, Ruben Randall. Raise your hand if you made the finals in the league that you want to win the most, and you have Beckham on your team. That is definitely me. Huge blow for Beckham owners. Hopefully you have a decent option on your bench. If not, Ruben Randall's not a terrible option. They're going to have to throw the ball to somebody out there. He's had some decent games as of late. I think there's a good chance he can find the end zone. So obviously it's a big downgrade from Beckham, and you're losing out on a lot of blow-up potential. But Randall, not a bad flex option if you're desperate. And a guy that you'd be really desperate for, but in really deep PPR leagues, I don't mind Adam Humphries for Tampa Bay, filling in for Vincent Jackson. He's looked pretty good. He's been steadily involved in the offense since Jackson went down. My pick up and play quarterback. It's scary to put it in Kirk Cousins' hands for your fantasy championship, but it's not a bad idea going up against the Eagles. I mean, their defense is awful. I know Kirk Cousins has been somewhat of a roller coaster, but you got to be impressed with what he's done as of late. You can never tell what's going to happen in those divisional games, but Cousins, you got to like the matchup. You got to like what he's done. Not a bad pick up and play option. My tight end I want to talk about is Will Tye for the Giants. With the Beckham news, I like him even more. Again, they're going to have to throw the ball to someone out there. He's been finding the end zone as of late, and he's really proven to be a consistent part of that offense. And then my pick up and play defense is Pittsburgh. They're going up against Baltimore. It's in Baltimore, which I don't necessarily like that part of it, but Baltimore just has no weapons left. You saw what Kansas City did to Baltimore last week. Their offense is just terrible at this point with all the injuries that they've had. So Pittsburgh, like them as a pick up and play defense. Good luck if you are in your championship. As always, if you got questions about those last lineup questions, get in the forums. If you want to see the write-up of this post, click on it in the link and subscribe to our channel.